Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Linda Sue Plants for You. Today we are going to be repotting the ponytail palm, and I'm going to be putting it in just a little bit bigger pot. It's been drying out on me really fast, and although I have it inside of a plastic pot first and then inside the terracotta, I couldn't understand why it was drying out so much until I looked underneath, and lo and behold, the roots are coming out the bottom. So we're gonna put it in a little bit bigger pot today, and hopefully this will it'll be happy in here. I prefer terracotta, but I do use plastic on occasion, and because I need this size pot today, we're going to use the plastic. So this plant I've had now for probably about 6 months, and it didn't do anything for a while. It just was kind of stagnant, and then all of a sudden it started growing really fast. So I'm not sure what the explanation of that is. If I know that some plants just grow faster at certain times of year, like my spider plant, that grows towards the end of the growing season. That's when it really starts to, I get a ton of new foliage and lots and lots of babies, and that happens every fall. So I know that that's the season for that plant. Not ever having owned a ponytail palm before this one, I wasn't sure what to expect, but that's what happened. So I'm going to put it in a bigger pot now, and then hopefully it'll be happy in there. And just a little bit of information about this plant. I keep it under a pretty bright light, grow light. I did have it in my southern window at one point, and it was doing pretty good, but I had to move it because I was rearranging a lot of my plants, and it just didn't fit in that spot anymore. So it is now under artificial lighting, and it seems to like it just fine. The grow light is actually just an LED equivalent to a 100-watt bulb, and I believe it's 1500 lumens. So that's that. And watering, well, let's get it out of here and then I can show you a little better. This is a plant that's much better to underwater than overwater. It can tolerate the underwater much easier than it can overwatering. So because it's a bulb, and once you overwater a bulb, it's very hard to turn that around. Oh my goodness, that is really stuck. There it goes. Oh yeah. So as you can see, we've got lots and lots of roots in there. I'm going to turn my flip around so I can see what you're seeing. And you can see all those nice healthy roots. Now, one of the things I look for when the roots are starting to come out of the bottom of a pot is I look for that circular motion once I take it out. If it's got a lot of that going on down at the bottom, I will loosen it up a little bit just to kind of let the plant know, hey, it's okay to spread your roots out now because I'm putting you in a bigger space. This one doesn't have too bad, I don't think. I don't want to disrupt this too much. I think I'm going to just leave this be, and I think it's going to feel its way out all on its own. I don't see a lot of circular motion. There's a little bit here, but that's neither here nor there. What I worry about is when it gets like that on the bottom and it's real tight and real heavy and thick. Sometimes if you put it in the new pot, it's not helping it because the roots have a memory and they think that they're just going to keep going around in a circle. But I don't think that's the case with this one. So we're just going to put this in here. And again, this is just my regular potting soil. It is. This happens to be an organic soil. I don't always use organic. I use whatever, pretty much whatever's on sale or whatever I buy. And then I will add different things to amend the soil depending on the plant. Now, sometimes I add sand, sometimes I add orchid bark, sometimes I add charcoal. But in this case, I've already got this mixed in, and there is a little bit of orchid bark in here. There's a little bit of charcoal in here, and that's what I'm going to use for this plant. And keeping in mind again that this bulb will store water, and it store water's up in the leaves even. So if you overwater this, it can get rotted out very easily at this portion where the bulb is meeting the soil. And if that happens, it's almost impossible to turn it around. And if there's anyone out there that's been able to do that, by all means, leave a comment. Let us know what you did and how you did it. But I've never had any luck when it comes to overwatering a bulb plant to bring it back. Underwatering, yes, and it will start to feel soft, not mushy, but soft. And usually that's then a sign of underwatering. But when it's healthy, it's a firm, almost feels like wood to the touch. I keep the soil evenly moist for the most part. But again, if it gets, I'd rather, once in a while it gets on the dry side, and that's why you will see on the tips of some of these leaves, you see the browning on here. And that is due to underwatering for me, for this plant. So, well, let's get it in here. Being careful not to get the soil level too high. I have a bad habit of doing that, and then I end up having a heck of a time when I'm watering because the water wants to go over the sides of the pot. So I have to just remember not to overfill the soil and put it in at the bottom. So this is a fairly easy one. I don't know how many of you that are watching this have watched my previous videos, but I had two very kind of hairy transplants. I don't know what other term to use, but they were, I repotted my Pilea peperomoides, and that was quite a job. And you can go back and watch that if you wish to. And then I also just recently repotted my strawberry begonia, and I think that was probably the second most difficult, because the babies on there that hang down are, I liken them to Velcro. They feel like once they touch, you can't get them apart. They tangle so easy. And if you have a plant like that, all I can say is, and they grow very fast, so try to put them in a pot that's a little bit bigger than you normally would. Now, in this case, with this pond, I went the normal 2 inches bigger. So I think that'll be okay for this plant. But when you're dealing with that strawberry begonia, because it grows so fast, I think you're almost better off to just go with a, instead of it, if you're looking to go to a 2 inch, maybe make it a 4 inch right off the bat, because those are very difficult to, at least for me, to repot. And the other thing is, the babies, when you, well, let me start over here because I'm not even making sense. Before you take it out of the pot, you want to somehow wrap those babies Or do like I did and put paper towel layers and then bring up your babies and put them over it so that they stay separate from each other. I'm starting another pot for my granddaughter's friend, and when I send that home with her, I'm going to be wrapping up the babies separately, just putting paper towel or something around them and taping that to keep them separate from the leaves of the plant and from each other, because again, it will, they'll get stuck together and you almost always break them trying to get them apart. So, alright, that's it for the ponytail palm. That was pretty easy. I'm glad we got that done. And here we have my wide leaf Adensonii that I got from Suzette, from Suzette's Gardens. She's a good friend of mine, and she has, if you haven't been to her channel, you really owe it to yourself to do that. She's got beautiful plants. She's got hundreds of plants inside and out, and she has a lot of knowledge. She's been growing plants all her life, second generation, and whenever I have a plant question, I go to her. She's my go-to gal. So anyway, she sent me a box of cuttings a while ago, and this was one of them, and I've had them rooting in here, and now I'm going to put them in a pot. And as you can see, they've got pretty good, the one has 3 good roots and this one has 2 good roots, but we're going to plant them up today because they need to get in a pot and out of the water. I sometimes have problems with plants when I start rooting them in water first, because they're just a different type of root, and when you go when they're used to being in water and then you go to put them in the soil, sometimes it sets them back a little bit. So I generally like to pot my things up in the soil that they're in, but in this case I was kind of afraid to, because I wanted to make sure that it was getting roots without having to pull it out of the dirt. So it worked fine. They've been in there for probably a month and a half now, but they're very healthy. I'm very excited about these. I have the smaller leaved ones that I also received from Suzette, and now I have the big ones, and I can't wait for this to grow up and be a full, beautiful plant. I know there's many of you on the YouTube channel that have these, and they're big and they're lush looking, and I just think they're beautiful. So I'm excited that I have these to start my plants with. And I don't mind starting them from little. That's half the fun of it, you know. You kind of raise them up like you do your kids, and you nurture them and feed them and take care of them when they're sick, and then eventually they grow up to be healthy plants, or healthy, well-adjusted plants, or healthy, well-adjusted young adults. Take your pick. Hopefully. Sometimes we do everything we know to do, and sometimes that's not even enough. So, okay. So I see a little tiny shoot coming out. I don't know if you can see that. It's right there. So I'm getting a new leaf, which is really exciting for me. I'm going to put a little more dirt in, because this dirt does settle when I water it, and the dirt is very dry right now. But that's what we're going. I want to mention too, during this video, that some of you may not be aware, and I don't like to belabor this subject, but I've had a few people that have contacted me and wanted to know where I've been, and you know, they're not seeing me on YouTube as often as they like. I'm dealing with some pretty serious health issues, and there are times when I am just unable to do anything. And during those times, obviously not making videos. So if you are one of those people, and I want to just thank you for your encouragement, and if you're a praying kind of person, I appreciate your prayers. And just know that I'm still watching all of you and enjoying your videos, and I will get back on camera just as soon as I am physically able to. And in the meantime, I hope that you'll hang in there with me. Alrighty, that's about it. I'm going to water this, and I'm going to water my palm, and I think we're going to call it a day. I do have a lot of other videos planned, and some that I think will be pretty exciting, but I'm not going to even say when that's going to be, because honestly I don't know from day to day. So in the meantime, I hope that you all have a wonderful week, and I hope that you'll come back again and visit my channel. And thank you so much, those of you who are supporting me. I really do appreciate it more than you'll ever know. And I hope that we'll see you all back here for the next video. Alright, thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye now.